And now, Denis Eucalyptus.
It's hot up here. Does that mean I'm on the hot seat? Is this mic working?
Yep.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
How great to be asked to begin the new chapter of the UUCLC. And I hope it is a great new chapter. I hope this grows into an every Sunday experience. I understand that this is going to take place once a month, today and the next 2 months, summer break, and then in the fall, pick back up somehow. But here we are. I get to preach at the new chapter. I'm going to start by showing you a piece of art. It's great that we have this screen up here because I can put it in front of the camera and maybe you can. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Hold the bottom. Okay. So this is inspired from the Northwest Native Americans. It's a picture of a raven. And I'm going to read what it says after.
Put it a little closer now.
No, okay. Anyway, it's a picture of a raven, and the text that goes with it. All people were sitting around in the dark, wondering what to do next. And it was back when the animals could still talk. Raven fast talked his way into Old Changer's lodge, and then opened the box where Changer kept the sun, turning the sun loose up into the sky. All of a sudden, there was light. So all the men and women could see how beautiful they all were. And they all fell in love with one another and decided to start a tribe. That's all. That's all. That's how it all began. I like that. But now for some older words. As the prelude to this sermon. First, from the Gospel of Luke, the rising sun will come to us from heaven to shine on those living in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the path of peace. And then from the first letter of John in the New Testament, these two. God is love. Now I must say before I read the whole thing here is that this actually was my go-to scripture so often in 32 years of being a minister. I was often asked to do memorial services and funerals for people who had no church connection, and I didn't know if they had any formal faith at all. And I had to say something that was true about their loving hearts. So I always could pull up 1 John chapter 4. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives drives out fear. And then this from an aging old pastor. This is the best we can do, to love imperfect people with our imperfect love. As for their faults and failures and our own, they are simply opportunities to forgive, which is the key to peace of mind. That will make a little bit more sense as I go through this metaphor that I'm going to unpack for you. I want to suggest that in our heads, we have a nice screen, something like that. And it's inside, and we project what we think is real on that screen. And that becomes our reality. And I'm going to share with you my personal double feature that appears on the screen of my mind in this regard. Let me give you a sneak preview of these two features, these two movies. By the way, does anybody here remember double features? Yeah, there used to be double. Now, of course, if you go to the auto movies, I think they often have double features there. But I mean, inside, I remember as a kid, especially because there was always a scary one with robots that shot fire through their hands and tried to kill the good space cadets or whatever they were. Remember that, the double features. Well, we all have, I'm going to suggest in this metaphor, a double feature that kind of runs sometimes one, sometimes the other. And I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what is playing at the Eucalyptus Theater. I'm going to do this in two parts. First, we will preview my favorite oldies but goodies, both about fear and faith. And then I'm going to preview some of the current releases that run on my theater in terms of fear and faith. Now, I want you to imagine that there are actually two screens up here. So over here is going to run the oldies but goodies of the Eucalyptus Theater, the old rules, spindles or reels of film about fearful stuff that I play in my head. And these have played for a long, long time. So first of all, you see up here a nice house. And a home is supposed to be a place of safety and where you're valued and you're wanted. See, but mine wasn't. Here's a little boy, and he is part of an alcoholic family, and often with some violence, and always with grinding poverty, moving from community to community and school to school. And on top of that, watch out, he's jumped in this pool over here with some friends with no supervision around, and he almost drowns. One of the great things his older brother did for him, saved him. And then what you see is the schoolyard. There he is. He's standing by himself. Everybody else has been chosen for a team in one, and so I'm the last one chosen. And then inside the schoolroom, there is that devilish game called Spelling Bee. Oh my God. Spelling Bee again. And there I am I'm sitting down and everybody else is standing up. I'm the first one eliminated in this county. And there is there is the church that I went to with my mother. And there's Pastor Stove. Pastor Stove, he could tell it to make you shake in your boots about what happens to sinful people. Oh my God. The thing that sticks in my mind that he must have said 100 times is that they are cast out into the darkness where there is wailing and gnashing of teeth. I thought he said gnashing of teeth, and which was even worse for a little kid, I think. And to bring it home, in the catechism class of us 6 or 7 boys, if we weren't paying attention, he'd kick us. He'd kick us good. And I used to think when he would say, you know, God is like a father, I said, yeah, it's probably like my father, and I have nothing to do with him. And so that was church. And so there I am, a little older now, I'm 16, and that's sort of at the end of my childhood. And I'm looking at my mother there, and I say, I want to move away from home. Well, she surprised me. A couple of days, she went to a thrift store and bought a used suitcase and gave it to me. I left and never came back. Moved away 400 miles. That's quite a movie. Doesn't quite end there because yeah, I'm with this girl. Yeah. But we have a lot in common. Her mother was found by her on the floor of their home, dead over drinking. And my father, a year later, committed suicide from drinking. So I thought, hey, this is the perfect name. So I married her, and it lasted for 10 years. And alcohol was the explosive stuff that burned up that marriage. Well, that's quite a fearful movie. There's a boy, unwanted, no self-esteem, failing in school. We are ridiculed on the playground, and a family joke probably summed up like this. I wanted to play the trumpet in school. And I was inspired by this kid that had the shiniest, beautiful trumpet you could imagine. In fact, when he held it with a handkerchief, so he wouldn't get like fingerprints on it. And I wanted to play the trumpet like this guy. And I told my parents, again, I was surprised. Along came a case, a trumpet case with a trumpet in it. My father had brought for me. I opened it up, and it was an old tarnished trumpet that had been dropped from the top of a car when my father and his drinking buddy were blowing it one night. And fell, and the accordion and again the bell. This is what I was supposed to be, school, and play in the band. Well, that's a pretty fearful movie, but I've got 2 screens. So over here, the second feature of the Eucalyptus Theater, this is the side that has the movie of Faith and Trust. And as you can see, I'm playing in the eucalyptus grove. I found a refuge in a whole block of eucalyptus trees where I can go and build forts, get inside, be safe. No one could get me. Smell delicious, while away some summer afternoon. It was between the school and my house, was safe ground. Well, and there, he's not alone there in the neighborhood. He lives in a federal housing project, and he found a friend. About, I think we're about 9 or 10 years old. His name was Crescencio Estrada. And Crescencio and I, we would mow people's lawns and wash the cars, and gather and save our quarters and go out and buy these 45 RPM records. And, you know, like splish splash, he was taking a bath along Saturday night, or the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini, or it was a one-eyed, one horn flying purple people eater. That was the golden age for Kitty Rock. We filled up a little carrying case of, and we were best friends and shared that. Yeah. And then, what else do you see up there? Well, you see that when I moved away from home, actually, I was a success in some ways. I moved away from home and I actually got a job. And I got a room in a widow's house to rent. And I bought a car. And I enrolled back into high school. Quite amazing. And so that I will never forget how wonderful it was to be in a safer place. Now, I made a poor choice in marriage, but the marriage came with a great father-in-law. And the father-in-law was the only person in my short life that ever encouraged me to go to college. And he got me walking into the community college, Pierce Junior College in the Sacramento Valley. And after 3 years, I had an AA. Was brave enough to enroll in the state college in Sacramento Valley, Northridge, and I got a BA. Went on after that, got an MA in graduate school, and it wasn't for Corel Castile, my first father-in-law, that none of that would happen. And not only did Robin come with a great father, but he also came with a great church. Robin was a member of the Methodist Church in Sepulveda, California, and it was a wonderful liberal Methodist church that was all for Martin Luther King and all against the war in Vietnam. And it really made a difference in my life and made me stand on my own 2 feet. Well, that's quite a wonderful movie right in me compared to the one over there. It was a movie about God offering me refuge, a friend, opportunities, and I learned if I worked hard, I could succeed. Now, Casey has had to see these 2 movies run off and on, back and forth through my life. And it's the same old movies, it's the same old story, it gets kind of old. So I'm going to update it. There's sequels to these 2 movies. First of all, over here there is the new sequel of the fearful movie, Wildfires.
What'd you put there?
What'd you put?
Wildfires. Beating chords. Damn, if I didn't have to buy a house in Jago Bay. Hardly any way in or out. On a hillside covered with trees. I hold my breath from May to November in fear. Well, over here, there's also COVID-19 update in the cerebral side. COVID-19, I was sure I was going to get it. And but then I got my vaccinations, and then I realized that vaccinations don't last that long. And it's going to be a breakthrough. And then the long haul, downside of being sickened with COVID-19, which is those were horrible stories. So on top of that, yes, it's just coming up now. It's the new surprise in the theater of Denis Eucalyptus. Yep, it looks like I may have lymphoma. Lymphoma, that sounds like a nice word. Lymphoma, kind of soft. It's actually kind of a watery cancer. It can run through your lymph system, and it looks like it's caused a great big tumor inside my spleen. And it was sort of discovered at the end of December, the doctors have been, feels like to me and to Casey as well, dragging their feet and trying to figure out what it really is and what they're going to do about it. And we're still wondering. And now it's April. And but it doesn't mean I'm afraid of death. That isn't the whole thing about lymphoma. But I am afraid of a bad death. I'm afraid of dying in pain without consciousness, alone, or feeling alone. That's a bad movie. Over here, though, there's a different movie. Over here, there is the double feature of faith and trust. There I am. That's the backside of me. That's probably a better view. So I'm counting my blessings up there. I'm counting my blessings. Long life. My parents always told me I'd never live to see 21. That was my expectation. But now I'm 76. Yeah. Long life, good career, great friends, loving partner who's easy to love. Epiphanies and miracles, major and minor. I'm aware of them more and more. Eyes open in gratitude and love of nature and beauty. Now, I know counting your blessings, everybody's tried that, and it's kind of trite in some ways. But when I was a pastor over here in Lower Lake, I used to, on a regular basis, go to Meadowood Convalescent Hospital with my guitar. And the staff would bring out these people in their wheelchairs and sit with people at tables, and well situated. And I would pass out these little simple song sheets. And they loved to sing the ones they knew, the oldies, good. And like this one, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. They do all right there. Count your many blessings and see what God has done. And they used to sing that with gusto because they had two movies running in their lives. One of them ending in a convalescent hospital. The other knowing that God had blessed them. So I'm going to, gee, I have 20 more minutes. I could just ramble on, but I'm going to bring this to a close. Cartoons. How about a newsreel? No. So, though fear tries to dominate us, well, I shouldn't say us, maybe that isn't your experience, but the fear reel, R-E-E-L, the fear reel of the movie does try to scare the hell out of you, or maybe scare the hell into you. And it can dominate your life. And it has so much power. But we have a choice. We have a choice of which one we're going to play today. That one or that one. The choice is always ours. I had a teacher that was important to me way back when, Gerald Jampolsky. He wrote a little book called Love is Letting Go of Fear. Love is letting go of fear. And it was a little fun workbook with fun illustrations, and it had 10 things you could do to break through the dominance of the fear movie and play the faith and love and trust movie more often and more often. It's a great little book that underlines the fact that we always have a choice of which one to put up there. Now we practice in our living. We practice over and over and over, viewing and seeing as reality our fears. And that makes them so strong in us. And so it takes a little practice to look at something else in your life, to look at the other side, and to see which one is really the truth, really the truth about the Son having been taken out of the old lodge and out of the box and released up into the sky until it lit suddenly everything, and we could see each other as beautiful and loving, and we could see ourselves as beautiful and loving. What a great day. Oh, happy day. Now, this would be a great beginning, Sam, run a 10-week workshop on how to move out of the fear movie into the faith movie, but there are so many resources. It just takes our will to decide, I'm going to stop. I'm going to learn to stop running the bad movie. And I'm going to decide what's most real in life is love. The most powerful thing, the genesis of all creation, is love and beauty. I want to be a part of that. Today, join me in deciding that's where we're going. Amen.
Amen.